Hey guys, hope you're all having a great day. So in today's video, I am at my dad's house. I have a number of plants that are going to be going in the ground in a couple of spots, which I'll show you all of that at the end, but let's take a look at what we have. So right to my left here, I just have some bags of composted manure. There's a couple of spots where the soil isn't the best, especially because we just replaced some grass with it. So this is going to help amend that soil and give them something to take root into. Right on the left here is a castle wall holly. You may remember from a past video that I did plant a row of castle spire hollies with a castle wall. We're just gonna add one more to finish off this row. You'll see in the end why we're adding this in, but this will help with pollination since this is a male as well. To the left of that is a really cool plant that I didn't know about until about last week. It's called a Chocoholic snakeroot. So it's a great plant to add some height for a shady spot. It wants partial shade to shade, and I'll go over the details of all these plants at the end of the video once they're in the ground, just so you can kind of see how they're going to fill in those spaces. But I have 3 of those, and then to the left of that is a type of hosta called Diamond Lake. I have 3 of those as well. So, with all that being said, why don't we get started planting? Okay, so we are all done with planting for tonight, and I really love what we put in. So first up are these 3 Chocoholic snakeroots. I have the tag right here so I can give you all the info on this. But long story short, this is a more shaded area of the garden. We planted this viburnum, which I actually did not record. I don't know the name exactly of this viburnum, but we're gonna do a garden tour, so I'll go over all that stuff in the future. But this is all the south side, and because we put this new deck in, this area does get quite shaded, especially in the afternoon by the house. So these are 3 nice tall plants that are gonna fill in this spot. They're gonna give nice deep color, especially that contrasts well against the house over here. But I actually had these underneath a deck for a few weeks or so, before we put them in the ground, or actually maybe it's only like a week, and they did start to turn a little bit of green. So I think that's what happens when they don't get as much sun. So we'll see how purple these stay, or if they tend to be more green. I'm not too sure. It also might be that the new foliage is a little more green, but we're gonna see how these do. What's really cool about these is they have these gorgeous flower spikes. Now, if I look at the tag here, you can see they get 5 feet tall and 3 feet wide. However, it's actually the bloom spikes that get about 5 feet tall. The foliage is only about 2 to 3 feet tall and wide, but they're hardy in zones 4 through 8, and then they're gonna bloom late summer to early fall. But you can see it says full to partial shade, so this is like the perfect spot. Anytime I have a space that has even just like a little bit of shade and it's just a little iffy thinking, oh, do I really want to put a sun to part shade plant in? I always opt for the full shade to part shade plants because I would rather have a part shade plant overperform than have a part sun plant underperform. Just the way of thinking about that. So these are going to fill in quite a bit, and then we have this other part of the bed too, and this all has to be filled in. We started with this with some other stuff, which is looking awesome. So we're going to put in a few more things over here, but we do have this hose reel, so we're going to have to keep this space a little bit open, but there might be something else we're doing with that as well. Now, I want to walk you through here so you kind of see where we are. This is a plant that I actually forgot that we had to plant, so I didn't mention it at the beginning of the video, but this is a type of ornamental grass called overdam. This is a really gorgeous, I would say thicker bladed ornamental grass that has beautiful variegation. Here's what the tag is. I had to pull it off because it was stapled, but it's Calamagrostis overdam. It's a featherweed grass, just like the Karl Forster, hardy in zones 4 through 9. But what's really cool is that it's compact, only gets about 2 feet wide, 5 feet tall, and it'll have white and pink color, especially towards the fall. We didn't want to put a lot in this bed. We want it to be more simple and also not be a super wide bed. I'd say it's only probably about 3 feet wide, which is kind of narrow in terms of garden bed space. But this will be a nice accent plant that is next to a Japanese holly, which I'll show you that real quick. This is another plant that I didn't record in a video just because we're trying to get stuff done over here before it gets too hot. But this is a nice Japanese holly, Ilex crenata, and then this is going to only get about that 2 feet wide space, so it's going to grow beautifully right there. So starting off over here, this area has seen a huge upgrade today. There's one plant that we have not talked about before because this was another thing that went in. This is called a volcano cherry laurel. So this was put in, again, a little bit more of a shady spot back over here, but we put in these castle spire hollies here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 castle spires, and we put in this one castle wall, which is the male. You can see the berries on the castle spire. And then the male kind of has these flowers, which these are kind of done for the season. We wanted to put one more in because we realized it definitely looked not finished without one extra holly here. And it's pretty close in size. It's definitely a little bit bigger than the other ones, but that's the only size that they had at the garden center. So that one works totally fine, but it's another castle wall. When fertilizing blue hollies, at least for these proven winners ones, I'm not sure what it's like for every type of blue holly, but for these, they recommend planting 1 male holly for every 5 females. We had 1 male and 7 females. We actually got really good pollination with these, but we figured if we're gonna add one more, let's just add another male so that way we can ensure there's definitely good pollination for all of these hollies. So that finishes that off there. We've got the coral bark Japanese maple that we planted last fall. And then these are the hostas that we added in today. So these are a variety called Shadowland Diamond Lake. Now, what's interesting about these is that they only end up getting 17 inches tall, but 45 inches wide. They're hardy in zones 3 through 9, and again, it says part shade to shade. This I'd say is more part shade. It's about 8 o'clock right now, 7:30-ish, and you can see there's a little bit of sun just peeking through the trees, which there was kind of direct sun in the later part of the afternoon for this area. But these are a beautiful blue-leafed hosta, which they do kind of lose that if you do scratch them up, which is no big deal, because these will keep growing back for next year. They're starting to bloom. I'm going to leave the blooms on for this season, but you definitely can cut them off if you want to. But the idea is we have the nice evergreen color, the beautiful red here, and then we have the nice blue color, which I know red and blue isn't the absolute best color, but I think the blue contrasts nicely with that lemony color during the season. And then those kind of just go away for the winter time. But these 3 will fill in quite nicely. We planted them about 30 inches apart, so they're going to definitely grow into each other, and then they'll probably grace the side of these hollies, if not grow into them a little bit, and then also for that cherry laurel. They'll kind of grow up and around that cherry laurel as well. Now, we have these 4 Patriot hostas that I planted probably a couple of years ago, just so there was something back here. Those are going to get moved, and we're going to put one more shrub right there. But here's kind of one more backed up view, just seeing what those look like. I think it's a great trio, and adding that one castle wall definitely completes the look. Now, as I'm walking through the front yard, there's a whole heck of a lot of this that's going to be changing very soon. So stay tuned for that, because I'm really excited for what we're going to be working on here. All right, so that's pretty much all I have for you in this video. We put a number of things in today. There's some more that's definitely going to be going in soon, and you will see a garden tour of this entire space very soon because it's really starting to look great. Besides that, I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you in the next one.